Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you in my capacity as editorial director at Purple Ink Shed, where we help aspiring authors demystify that blurry middle between their manuscript and their polished published book. So we basically move aspiring authors successfully from being dreamers to published authors. My name is Amy Kilsum and I'm really delighted to have you here. 2026 is around the corner. Many of you are already thinking about, I need to publish that book I didn't finish in 2025. I know several people who reached out to me. They tried to start work on their manuscripts, but because we already booked for the year, we couldn't take on their jobs. So those people are actually in the waiting list, looking forward to publishing those books in 2026. However, before you launch out with that very laudable accomplishment, you need to pay close attention to these things I'm going to be talking about in this video. I'll be right back after a quick break. Don't go away. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with me. So straight into what we are talking about today. Now, I see a lot of authors use this strategy, right? They go ahead and announce their book launch date, even when they are not exactly ready to release the book. They actually do it from a place of saying that, having that book launch date made public will put them under pressure and put them on their toes, right? So that when they feel like procrastinating, they feel like slowing down, they feel like delaying or becoming lazy about writing or working on their manuscript, they remember that, I have a date out there. I cannot disappoint these people that are waiting to receive my book. So it keeps them on their toes, basically. Now, that's a good thing to do. However, there are important things you want to note, because if you do not pay close attention to these things, you're going to end up using a strategy that becomes counterproductive. So first and foremost, before you announce your date, ensure that your manuscript has been sent to an editor and that it has been thoroughly edited. I mean a professional editor, not your cousin, not your auntie, who just has this knack for correcting spellings and all of that. You should have sent your manuscript to a professional editor, or worst case scenario, the manuscript should have reached its final stages of editing before you announce your date. Okay, that's because when you as an author, you've written your book, there are things your editor is going to see through the eyes of a professional that you may not pay attention to. You may not even know are there. You may not even know you need to pay attention to them. If your editor is going to be thorough, they're going to run your manuscript through checks to ensure that there's no plagiarism in your work and there's no heavy use of AI. I personally do that at Purple Ink Shed. I check for plagiarism. I check for AI use. So when your book is heavy on AI use, I would usually send it back for rewrite. So imagine if you have to rewrite significant number of chapters, like 3 chapters, 4 chapters, 6 chapters, or the entire book, right? Sometimes some people get under pressure and they are like, you know what, I'm just going to release that book like that. And then you end up releasing a shoddy book. You end up releasing a tacky book. And your name becomes a door closer, because when they see your name elsewhere, they'll be like, that was the lady or that was the guy who released this book on marriage, that book on courtship that was not properly done, even when you had a valid message, right? So you don't want to do that to yourself. So take your time. While I think I agree with the idea of putting out a date long before you're ready, helps you sit up and work on your manuscript. You don't want to do it in such a way that it ends up backfiring against you, right? You must ensure that your book is already edited before you put out that date. Okay, the next thing you want to pay attention to before you make your book launch date public is to ensure that you have a book cover. Okay, so now note that even if you have a book cover but your editor has not seen your manuscript, that book cover at best is tentative, because by the time your editor looks at your manuscript through the eyes of a professional, they may discover that, your message is not sitting well with the title, right? And then you may need to change it. So remember that your publicity materials are actually done with the theme of your book, your colors and the theme of your book cover. Okay, that means you would have put out your launch dates, your flyers and everything, and yet you now have needs to change your book cover, right? You don't want to go back, retrieve your cover, retrieve your flyers, maybe change the title. When you begin to do things like that, you may tamper with the trust that your readers are supposed to have in you as an author. So you don't want to do that. So ensure that your book cover has also been looked at through the eyes of an editor that has seen your entire message to know that, oh, this book cover, the elements on the cover, the title of the book, everything goes hand in hand, right? So never forget this important step before you announce your book launch date. Number 3 thing you need to pay attention to before you announce your book launch date is to ensure that if you are publishing on Amazon, ensure that you have an account that has already been properly verified. Now, Amazon does this thing called identity verification, right? Most of the time, it's a very rigorous process. Sometimes they just turn down certain authors, shut down their account. And the painful part is that they never really give you detailed reasons why they are shutting down your account. They just send this generic response that says, oh, your book is going to turn out as a bad, poor reading experience for readers. No details, no reasons, even when they've not even read your book like cover to cover, right? So one of the things that makes them do that is because you have an account that has not been verified. Your identity as an author has not been verified properly. So ensure that you have done this, because you don't want to announce your book launch date, then you're about to publish, and then Amazon shuts down your account. And remember, don't just say, oh, I'm going to create another account. When they shut down your account, they warn that you shouldn't create another one. When you do create another one, they will come after that account and also shut it down. So you don't want to be thrown off balance with those kind of issues. So ensure that you are cleared by Amazon. Number 4 thing you want to pay attention to is that you have finalized arrangements with printing. Now, not every book publishing consultant offers printing services, right? At Purple Ink Shed, we do offer printing services, but it's always important to let us know how many copies you're printing and to give us enough time. You want to avoid that situation of being under so much pressure, you are rushing the printing process, and then you do not have time to go through all the books one after the other. Now, when you rush your printing process, the printer will not have time to check every book thoroughly. You may now end up launching your book, and then you have several books that have maybe the pages are upside down, some pages have ink splashed across, some pages are blurry or whatever, because these things, no matter how excellent a printer is, those things could happen. So a printer always needs adequate time, okay? So they can thoroughly look at your book and ensure they are delivering excellent copies to you. So don't forget these things. I always like to say that sometimes I see people of faith, I see Christians do this. They'll say, oh, God told me to release this book on so and so date. I don't think God suddenly wakes up and realizes that, oh, I'm supposed to do this. So 2026 is coming, or 2025 will soon finish. Oh, yeah, release this book. No, that's not the way of our God. Sometimes we just begin to reflect our temperaments or our perspectives on God and say, it was God that asked me to do this in 2 weeks. God is a God of process, right? When he needed an ark to be created, he didn't just show up to tell Noah, rain is coming tomorrow, we are come and do Jack Robinson and let us create an ark, right? He gave him time, because that ark needed details for it to function the way it's supposed to function, right? So he had to go through that process, making an ark that was done according to specification, right? Also, when he needed to send a foreigner before Jesus, John's mother had to go through 9 months of pregnancy. God did not say, because he's a foreigner, let's do sharp. Oh, you're 2 months, you're out. No, he had to go through 9 months. So God is telling you, oh, do this book, release this book. He knows the process that a book needs to go through for it to be excellently done, right? You don't want a book that the pages are flying away after a few weeks because the binding was rushed, because you put your printer under unnecessary and avoidable pressure. So let's not do these things to ourselves in 2026, okay? Calm down. If you want to pair your book release with a milestone birthday celebration, a wedding anniversary, or whatever event it is, ensure that you have enough time, okay? It's better you have your date announced and then you're ready. You're now just waiting for the day to arrive, right? So let's not forget these things. I'm looking forward to seeing your books published in 2026. Looking forward to you walking in that dream of becoming a published author, from being a dreamer once upon a time, right? It's such a beautiful feeling, and I'm really looking forward to it. You want to arrive there in a good way. You want to arrive there excellently, right? Not with regrets, not with a tacky book. You do not want that at all. If you've learned a thing or two from this video, like this video, share with somebody else, a community of writers, an aspiring writer you know, and remember to subscribe if you have not done so yet. Till I come your way again, keep winning.